for the past couple of months, one of the most popular videos on my channel has been budget-friendly ideas. And it's no surprise why. Nowadays, we're all on a budget. And any way we can find to cut costs anywhere, not just in model railroading, but anywhere, we're going to find a way to do it. So this is going to be kind of a follow-up video to that. I'm going to go around the layout and I'm going to show you all the things that I've done to try to save money while building this model railroad. So we'll start here at the bridge, and I'm going to walk around the layout. And as I go around, I'll point out all the things that I did to try to save some money, starting with the bridge itself. I made a video about the construction of this bridge a couple of years ago now. And you can go back and watch that if you'd like. And if you do, you'll find out that I built this bridge for free, minus the vehicles on top. The bridge itself, everything was built out of spare parts that I had lying around the garage in the basement. It's mostly made out of lumber. The road deck is plywood. The pillars are dowels that I had. Sides here and here, those are actually made out of those plastic corner guards that you put on the corners of your walls. This center here is a piece of wood that came out of an old window shade that busted. Just painted with either a combination of rattle can and acrylic paints. Those stripes on the road were done with a marker, or if you could see them, there's one little bridge shoe right there. Those I just happened to have left over from another project. So that's one way I saved some money, is I just simply found some material and said, I'm going to try to build a bridge, and I'm going to try to do it for free. In the past and done many review videos on these Menards buildings. There's one there, and there's one here, and there's another one around the corner. And there again, there's another way that I've saved money. These Menards buildings are, well, you can purchase them fully assembled, painted, detailed, and they even have lights on the inside. Okay? So for a fairly reasonable price, I mean, the FedEx here was probably no more than $50. You get a whole building that looks really nice, and it doesn't break the bank. And like I said, I have several of them, and they all look just fine. Menards offers their buildings in both O and HO scale. This is actually an O scale building right here on an HO scale layout. Reason is because Menard stores are very large, and frankly, I think it looks better on an HO layout than it would on an O scale. Another way to save a little bit of money is these cards in the front. These are not HO scale. These are Hot Wheels or Matchbox size. So 1/64 scale, which kind of helps blend the O scale components, like the figures out front. Helps blend that in with the rest of the layout, which is in HO. And I remember one of the things that I mentioned in my budget-friendly video was how I do parking lots and roads and such, and that's just using for sale signs. Spray them whatever color you need, cut them to the shape you need, and these are glued down to the layout just using wood glue. It seems to work very well to bond the styrene signs to the plywood underneath, or even styrofoam. Some of my modules are just made out of the pink foam insulation. The wood glue works just as well on that as an adhesive. For most of the signs on my layout, I print them off using a LaserJet printer. The quality is good enough for HO scale. I just download an image or create an image on the computer and print them off and make all these different signs. This house is a scratch-built model of my house, and I've scratch-built several houses and structures on this layout, and again, that's another way that I've saved some money. Not only have I created a very specific and prototype structure, but these are fairly inexpensive to assemble because the brick sheeting and the siding, some of this I picked up at Hobby Lobby for a really good price. The deck was made out of basswood or balsa wood. And again, Hobby Lobby sells that, and it's much cheaper that way than most hobby shops. I'm not knocking the hobby shop, of course, but it is a way to save a few dollars here and there. Next thing I'm going to talk about, train shows. So around my layout are several of these vehicles here, and this radio tower here. And what they have in common, plus other things, is that I got them at a train show. I bought 30 of these vehicles for $20, less than $1 per vehicle, and those are HO scale. The brass radio tower that's custom made was around $100. It does have a light on it. It already came painted, assembled, and everything you see there. But again, going back to the vehicles, you know how much HO scale vehicles can be. And I found 30 of them for $20 at a train show. I don't think that's a bad deal. Let's talk about water. I mentioned in the past that I use a high gloss Mod Podge for my water. Except for right here. This section of the river, and this section alone, is made from Woodland Scenic's Realistic Water. Okay. It took one bottle to do that section with about 3 pours. Come over here. It's the same river. It just winds around. This is made from the hot Mod Podge. And I don't know exactly how well it shows on camera, but I'll tell you what, in person, they're very close in appearance. Okay? Very close. There's another section of river back there. So it was like $30 for a bottle of the Woodland Scenics, which looks good. It looks fine. But a bottle of Mod Podge for $10 let me do this river and a bunch of other places around the layout as well. The cooling pond is made out of Mod Podge. Bunch of this is, and you can kind of see here like the sections of the signs I used. And I don't mind that you can see the sections or the lines, because if you look at real concrete, it has lines in it, expansion joints. So it's just another kind of added beneficial side effect to using those signs. Backdrops, for now, for the most part, they're these foam board sheets that you can pick up at Walmart. These my wife found for less than $1 a piece. Now these backdrops, they're only phase one of a more completed backdrop that I'm going to do later. I'm going to put some kind of a wrapping or photographic backdrop on them. But for now, they're very inexpensive backdrops that do the job. These right here, I spent a little bit more on. These are actually made out of 1/2-inch plywood, but it still wasn't too bad. I think I only needed 2 sheets, and it did all of this. The dark piece right there is a newer edition. I tried to match the paint up, but didn't quite get it, but that's okay. Your sky is not always the same shade of blue, depending on the weather conditions and whatnot. The International Bridge here, the highway bridge. Okay, even though it's 17 feet long, you might think, oh wow, that was probably really expensive to make, but it wasn't that bad. Okay, now the arches here are made from the Walthers double track arch bridge kit, and I have 3 of those on here, making those probably the most expensive part of the bridge. Okay, they were like $70 or so a piece. But the rest of the bridge, the roadway, is all made out of paneling that I got for free, and it works just fine. It took the paint, again, the paints, you know, I use just rattle can or acrylic paint, the cheap stuff from Walmart. I love that paint. It works great. The railing is made from let's see, Walthers and Lionel fence kits. And the Lionel ones I got on sale, if I do recall, so it wasn't too bad. It was probably just over $100 for all of the fencing to do the entire bridge. You know, so a little bit of cost there, but still, for as big as this bridge is, okay, it probably only cost $300 to build, if that. And that's including the paint, the glue, everything. The square stock, the dowels. These columns here, or piers, are made out of some pine board I had laying around. The girders along the side are all scratch built, using more of that signage I talked about, the for sale signs. Okay. All of this is stripped styrene. And you can actually pick that up at Hobby Lobby as well. Again, all of this water is Mod Podge. And let's talk briefly about that freighter right there. Alright, I've changed positions so I can come over here and give you a closer look at the freighter without actually crawling in there. Now at some point I'm going to do a video focusing on all the freighters and boats and the layout, tell you how I made them and whatnot. But for now, I would just say that this freighter in front of you is scratch built, the entire thing. Okay, the hull is made out of pine. The deck is made out of hardboard and small hardboard panels. I didn't even have to buy a full 4x8 sheet. Home Depot sells small, like 3-foot by 2-foot panels. So I just picked up one of them and it was plenty. Just cut it to the size I needed. All glued together with wood glue. The pilot house is just a couple of 2x4s under there. And I wrapped it in styrene, and yes, those are for sale signs. The boom crane, that's actually kit bashed from parts out of a Walthers bridge crane that I had. The railings and a lot of the deck details are items that I had from other kits and projects. There's even Legos on there that I used for certain items. But yeah, probably about $125 total. And that's including everything, like the paints, the glues, everything. Even the Walthers bridge crane that I had to have purchased at some point. One thing that is on that freighter that you probably can't see very well, some of the railings are made out of hardware cloth, which is this wire mesh right here. Why it's called cloth, I don't know, because it's metal. $15 for a roll of it. I've got a bunch left. But I used some here and here, and then back on that freighter I showed you. See, this boat right here was a little souvenir from a store in Sault Ste Marie, Michigan. At the time I bought it was like $7. Looks fine on here. The speedboat and the trailer are from Matchbox. A couple more of those $30 or $20 cars, pack of 30. I'll leave that part out. As you can see, there's a lot of streets and parking lots, sidewalks and stuff using those signs. But this street right here is actually using a different material. I believe it's called Tiddlywinks. It's like a thin foam rubber stuff that I got at Hobby Lobby, and it came that color even. So for like a few dollars I picked up a few sheets of it, and some of the streets through here are made out of that. Again, glued down with good old wood glue. It's another Menard's building. Some of the vehicles on this layout are not just those I picked up at a train show, but they're these really inexpensive vehicles I had from when I was a kid. Campground here. This camper here came from Hobby Lobby. The motorhome is a Matchbox car, or Matchbox vehicle I had from when I was a kid. This building was a gift, as were a few other items on the layout, and that brings me to my next point. So one way you can save money is around the holidays or birthdays or whatever, is I ask for gift cards. What do I use them for? All of this. That way you can go out and purchase whatever you want as a gift from somebody else. Scratch built item out of spare parts, so that one was free. Cut up hay in the field here. That's the end of an old rope that I just cut up. The bales are from Walther's, but the loose stuff on the ground is from an old rope. Some of the dirt on the layout is real dirt from outside. These rocks over here is gravel out of a dirt road. There's some excess piled up along the edges, so I went and got a couple bucketfuls. Mod Podge water. Mod Podge water. The signs and everything on the freighter here are printed on a LaserJet printer. The dome structure right there is made out of a piece of foam, again from Hobby Lobby. It actually came that way. And the cap there is off of an old can of hairspray or something. The smokestack on that freighter is a toilet paper tube wrapped in black and red tape. I'll add more stuff to it later, but for now it looks fine. Those loading pipes on the silos there that load the cement into the freighter, those are drinking straws. Made out of drinking straws. These piles right here are made out of sand, out of my kid's sandbox. Again, a lot of this dirt is actual dirt that's been sifted. The pulpwood that's over here, sawdust. Sawdust. The rocks in the layout are actual rocks. They blend in with the plaster rocks real well, so it's sometimes hard to tell what's what. But this is one right here. That's a real rock. So is this one. It's glued in there. I believe this one back here is just an old piece of concrete that chipped off of something. This power pole is made from a skewer. The lines are made out of thread. Some of these trees are really old, so I probably didn't pay for them originally, but you might be able to find stuff like that at rummage sales and estate sales. Again, that trailer is scratch built. First scratch built structure I ever made when I was like 16. This bridge was also made out of spare parts, but I did buy the bridge shoes for this. Okay, that was their original purpose. And I actually bought more for the International Bridge project too, so that's why I had extras for that overpass that I showed you at the beginning. Podge Lake that's almost got a frozen coloration to it. All these houses are scratch built. Swing over here to this freighter, you'll see some of that hardware cloth railing. The equipment that's wrapped in tarps on there, that's masking tape over strips of styrene. These square lift rings that are on each of these hatches, those are made from the tops of zip ties. Spare piece of pipe, like actual plumbing. There's a Lego. Sat there to represent like an electrical box or something. I've got real sticks on the layout that kind of look like this. This one's from Walther's, but I have others that I painstakingly cut out with a Dremel. There's a bunch of it right here. Speak of the devil. On the dock here at the steel mill, there's some spare pieces of rail. Instead of throwing them out, I just put them here. Spare parts from other building kits. There's more sand. Some of the end of track barriers are just piles of dirt in reality, so I just use sand because it holds its shape well. A lot of these trees here, this particular style, they're JTT product from Hobby Lobby. I mention them a lot, but there's so much stuff you can get at Hobby Lobby for model railroading and save a lot of money in that way. Again, I don't want to knock the hobby shops. They're very important and we need to support them, but we still need to also stay on a budget. Menard's building. Lights up really nice. Here you can really see some of the natural dirt. And most of these trees in here, minus the pines, are JTT. Matchbox truck back there. The vent on this building is some old bottle cap. The trails down there are sand. The ferry boat is a souvenir out of Mackinac City. I think it was like $10 for that ferry boat. And this little boat is a Christmas tree ornament. Some of the rolling stock in the layout I actually got from my brother as a trade for building his layouts and doing other things, like these two cars right here. So that was another way I saved a little bit of money. These loads here are made from old wheels, leftover scrap pieces of fencing and such. And that brings us back around to where we started. This truck right there is one from Walmart. That car there is actually HO scale. Together they don't look too bad. That was a souvenir item there. So to kind of recap, the different ways that I've saved a lot of money are the items that I mentioned in my first video from a couple years back. The signs, the Mod Podge, the skirting, that's landscape fabric. Like three or four rolls I think it took to do all of the layout, including layout B down there. And they were like $15, $16 a roll, so, you know, not bad. So there's that. Using real dirt. But other ways to save money, trade shows, rummage and estate sales, gifts, gift cards, holiday cash, Christmas cash, swapping out with your friends, scratch building, especially if you have a bunch of spare parts and pieces around or material around from other projects. So yeah, we're all the way back around, and I know I missed a bunch of things, but you know, when it's all said and done, how much did it actually cost me to build this layout? I have no idea. I stopped keeping track of it right from the beginning because it was just going to be too much. So that's why I tried to save as much money as I could where I could, and I definitely wanted to share that with everybody. Because don't worry, if you had to go cheap on something right now and it doesn't quite look the way you want it, you can always upgrade it later on. It's a model railroad, and it's all about having fun. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you got something good out of this, some good information, ideas. And until next time, take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.